Alrighty, so today I want to try something a little bit different today, and when Dokkan is in the state that it's at right now. Last week or the other day we talked about predictions and stuff like that. Who do we think Golden Week is going to be? So today, what I want to do is go over sort of the history of issues and stuff like that and controversies within Dokkan, right? This game being something, sometimes you guys got to realize, when a game has been running successfully for about 10 years, there is going to be slowdowns, right? There's going to be bugs, there's going to be issues. Now, I'm not going to be going over every single one of them in this video, right? But I want to go over some of the major ones that have sort of lived on in legends with the community, right? And stuff like that, and controversies and things that people still are talking about to this day, right? So let me know down below how many of these you were here for. I will tell you that before 2020, I was not a Dokkan grinder. I had tried it on and off. My friend that I used to play Xenoverse 2 with kind of put me on during the Broly movie back in 2019, sort of found a hook for it, and then really bought in during the 5th anniversary. So unfortunately, I am not a Dokkan OG, but I have been playing long enough and been doing YouTube content long enough that I've been able to experience, interact with the community, sort of understand where these things go, right? So what I want you to start with is maybe one of the most infamous errors of all time, and that is going to be the Kefla bug, infamously known as the 300 stones issue. Now, what we're going to do is sort of explain the lore, the community reaction and stuff like that, and what the impact that it had on the game moving forward. I think that's something that could be fun, some history lessons for you guys. This is all going to be on the screen, so if you're watching it on another monitor, I will be reading this to you so you understand. That way you don't have to look and stuff like that. So, there was a brief period in which Kefla's banners accidentally displayed false rates. Due to false rates being illegal, with the possibility of legal claims against the developers, this was quickly fixed and all players who summoned on the banner while it displayed false rates got all of the stones used refunded with an additional 300 stones gifted as extra compensation. Emergency maintenance, false race, refunds, and compensation, details and explanation, and the return of banner. This is all sort of just hyperlinks here that we can do. So what do they mean by false rates? I'm going to pull this up here, and hopefully this is translated. I think DBZ space is actually down now, unfortunately. But basically what this was saying, I looked into this when I talked about a short, but essentially what it was doing was when people were test running like summons on like bots and stuff like that, it was pretty evident that the rates that were being summoned were not, there's just no way that the numbers added up when people were doing summons and stuff like that. So what does this mean when this stuff like this happens, right? When this is not like an issue like the one we're going to talk about right after this up here, but this is not like a light issue that the game can just like brush off, say, haha, my bad, like here's 5 stones, right? This is a big deal. When you have false rates and advertising and displaying and stuff like that, that's a big deal, right? Facing legal action could have meant that Dokkan was shut down. Players had to use Dragon Stones on something that was not actually what it was, right? Making people spend money or stones in this case, and then in turn money for a product that they are not receiving is obviously not moral. It's not legal in the gacha market. So this was a huge deal. Now, the impact that this one sort of had, obviously getting full refunds and stones is amazing, but global players, and this isn't to be like a holier than thou situation because I main JP, but a lot of the times players will be like, or like a global main would be like, wish I could get 300 stones for free or for nothing, right? And that's what people are saying about it. And but JP got 300 stones, global is always shafted. But the thing is global has never had a false rates or a misleading, like false advertisement setup, right? Because JP would always get things first so they could sort this out. Now, the rates thing, we'll talk about that more on global, but we'll get to that. But global has never seen an issue like this aside from the 1st anniversary Gogeta one. Again, we'll talk about that. So when the game isn't being faced with like a lawsuit or legal action or anything like that, it's just a bit different. So this is kind of the first one. This is one of the most infamous controversies in the game's history because of mainly the 300 extra stones. And a lot of global players just wanted 300 extra stones, obviously. So that was the first one of the biggest ones. Let's move on to another, not really like a controversy, or it's a controversy, but it was intentionally done by the developers in this case. And players 100% did not like this. This is going to be the Gogeta and Omega Shenron to be released incident. Or we call it an incident, but it wasn't an incident. So, when Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and Omega Shenron were released simultaneously on both versions, so they were released on JP and Global at the same time, due to the category system not being released on the global version of the game, Gogeta and Omega released with the leader skills known as to be released. And that just meant that you were summoning for characters that were just not as good as they were on the other version, despite being out at the same time. Now, this one, obviously not good, and thankfully this stuff does not happen anymore. But could you imagine that happening now for like global 10th anniversary? It's like, oh, we haven't introduced this type of leader skill yet, so Tech Super Vegito, you guys are going to get him better. He's going to be better on later on when we release the actual version of him, right? That's basically what happened here, and this was definitely something that would be known as a global shaft, and this was definitely one of those. This is where any complaint was justified. If you aren't going to release the characters the exact same on both versions when they come out at the same time, keep in mind, I definitely think that like you should not release the characters on that version. I think it would have been better if Global just did not celebrate the characters and get them at the same time. If it meant not having them being able to be done properly, right? Like, you just simply could not have this Gogeta look as good on the global version because you did not have the statistics that you would need for the categories, right? So his leader skill wouldn't have been there. Running two of him would have been pointless. It was just a very dumb decision by them. But because it was, I guess, on technical things, right? Because it just was not on the server yet. But again, I think that the overall sort of impact on that one was just meant that they had to be more diligent with their releases when they did things on Global and JP at the same time. And now here we are speaking in 2025 and we are synced. So that's one of the controversies I definitely wanted to talk about. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, so here is a very similar issue to what we had on JP with the Kefla banner, but this one is going to be with the Super Saiyan Rosé, Goku Black Super Saiyan Rosé. An error occurred on the image of the banner. You guys can see on the right side of the screen where my mouse is, there is a different version of Broly compared to the one that it was supposed to be, which is the version on the left. So it was showing the TUR art rather than the SSR art. Now, technically you were pulling the right character, but the issue was it was being displayed falsely. So by the technicality, right, they were showing you were summoning for something that you technically could not obtain, right? Because you would never pull this version of the character on the banner, you would pull the SSR version. So what did that mean? It meant that all players who summoned on the banner were given refunds, and then this time they had 5 stones gifted as extra compensation. So in this case, this was not a 300 stone issue, as this was not a legal action thing. This was just a error in the game, right? It was not both were errors, but this one was not like false rates. It just was showing the wrong character. But despite them being the same name, it just was not as, it was a big deal, but it was nowhere near to the point where it's like, okay, the game is literally going to shut down because of this. Like, I'm just kind of circling back, the Kefla one, it literally could have been that, right? Would not have been good. So this is definitely one of the bigger ones that people talk about. Super Saiyan, the Broly issue here, getting full refunds. Let's go ahead and talk about an issue that happened for Global, where Global players ended up getting refunds. This ended up happening in 2021. Now, this was a Global W in terms of compensation, but this did not actually happen on the JP version. So if you guys were around for New Year's 2021, this was right around the end of beginning of 2021, there was an issue that was found with the available characters in the New Year Dokkan Festival, which is like the New Year Step Up. We see that every year. It was a little bit of a different format at that time, but still the same concept, where instead of it being STR Ultra Instinct Goku that you could pull, it was Tech Dragon Fist Goku, only available as the 10th character and SSR guaranteed Step 5. The banner was temporarily removed for about 2 days, and the issue was fixed with several measures. So, in theory, if a player were to summon on this banner and pull the Tech Super Saiyan 3 Goku, that sucks because that should have been STR UI Goku. So, definitely a big problem, but all Dragon Stones were refunded to players who summoned prior to the removal, and players who got to keep their character, or players got to keep the characters and got the stones and got to summon again on the New Year's banner. So if you were somebody that used 600 stones to summon on the Bleach, or the Bleach, I saw, you guys can't see this, but there's a Bleach image right there in my head. But if you summon on that banner, if you summoned on the New Year Step Up, you're able to get your stones back and do an additional round. So you essentially got double the characters for that New Year's. Or you could have just done your 200 stones or your 600 stones and kept the 600 stones. So full refunds, get to keep your characters, and you get an extra 10 on top. So this ended up being a pretty big controversy just because of the fact that, you know, people were summoning for UI Goku because UI Goku was the one who was advertised on the banner. So it was a bit of a controversy because, you know, players were summoning for that character and it was physically impossible for them to pull them because of an ID error in the coding. So if you were one of those players that pulled Dragon Fist and wanted UI Goku, I'm sorry, that should be UI Goku on your account, but hopefully 4 years later you have ended up pulling that character. Okay, so I have 2 more controversies I want to cover in today's video, and the last one is not going to be available on this wiki. I'm just going to pull up the character and talk about it. So, some of you probably remember this from 2021. This was an issue during, does it say on the date on here? Yeah, in about April of 2021, there was an issue where players, if they used support items, the game would just crash. And it made almost every single event in the game literally unplayable. You just could not enter it. You guys can see right here all of the different events that were closed. So with the new app update 4.14.3, an issue occurred where the app may crash when using support items in stages. Multiple events have been temporarily closed due to this issue. Others have been postponed until the issue has been fixed. The issue has not been fixed, and this is the maintenance amount of the amount. I talk every day for YouTube and I cannot talk. The announcement notice. Announcement notice. For this, or the news kind of post for it. So, how did they fix this? There was an emergency maintenance, and 4.14.4 fixed the issues for affected events, released March 17th, and all players, get ready for this one, received 3 Dragon Stones for the issue mentioned in the announcement, with everything being closed, and then 5 for the issue mentioned in the announcement that the support items thing was gone, and then they got another set of 2 Dragon Stones, totaling out to 10 Dragon Stones for the emergency maintenance, and then they postponed a World Tournament, which I'm sure players were very excited about. So, again, all of my speaking issues there, you know, the game was unplayable for like a good bit, and in return, they got 10 stones for it. So, last but not least, we'll make this one quick. This was a controversy that happened this year, believe it or not. And with this one, a lot of you probably know where I'm going, but in the data download for the 10th anniversary, for the first part, there was a full HD asset of this character in specific, being Super Gogeta, just completely sitting out in the open. The full render for this card has assets on here. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Card assets, here we go. So if we pull this up right here, this in full HD in all of its glory, right, was just out there in the open. And obviously an oopsie, right? The medals were in there, and a full HD render of Gogeta was put in the data download for part 1. So after the extremely hype part 1 stream, we saw Super Vegito. Then in the data download, it's like, oh, what is this? An LR Super Gogeta that has a strikingly similar pose to the other Super Saiyan Vegito that we have in the game. Not a good look. Now, how was this handled? Nothing really changed. There was no compensation for this or anything. Dokkan essentially just put out like a notice saying like, hey guys, refrain from posting what happened on social media. And then a lot of YouTubers, including myself, right? I could speak from personal experience with this one. I had a video ready to go because, you know, you got to be topical with Dokkan YouTube, and the part 2 anniversary LR was confirmed in the data download, wanted to make a video about it. But then I had the video ready to go, was waiting for my thumbnail. And then they put out that notice like saying, you know, action can potentially be taken, right? And obviously I don't want to lose my YouTube channel over one video, right? So just decided not to post it, but this was a pretty big deal, right? You really can take the wind out of your sails during a major celebration when characters are confirmed essentially 2 to 3 weeks early. So there you guys go. Some of the biggest controversies in Dokkan history. Again, let me know if you guys were here for a lot of these and stuff like that. I'd be very interested to see like when you played. There are a ton of different errors and bugs. Again, this game has been out for 10 years. You guys can see here, we got turn reset issues, item issues, black screen issues, just a whole bunch here, but I can't go over every single one. You guys can see they have tightened up a bit, not too many over the years. 2021 was a bit of a bad year, but I guess you could kind of blame coming out of the pandemic for that one or something like that. But I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Just a kind of quick trip down memory lane here. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you did enjoy. If you want to see more content like this, let me know in the comment section below. I'd be more than happy to cover it. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all in the next one.